story. But yes, I met her during my first week of medical school here. And she was one of the first people I really thought that I could talk to in medical school. We would go to anatomy and just talk the whole time. And I remember her coming in a few weeks into the semester and asking me if I'd be willing to speak at an event she was putting on called Behind the White Coat. And immediately I knew that I had a story to tell, but I brushed it off and denied. I was like, of course I'll come, but I didn't know if my story would fit the event, and I didn't know what the event was going to be like, and I didn't want my story to make others sad. My story is very vulnerable, and it's very uncomfortable, and I love making people happy, not sad. So it's a story that, even though it's important to tell, I find it very difficult to talk about. But talking about it is healing. And I came to this event last year, and I was completely moved by everybody at the event. And I made a promise to myself that no matter what, I would get up on this stage tonight and talk about my story. So, as of today, my mom's been dead for 1,217 days. She had glioblastoma multiforme, which we haven't really studied it yet, so you guys aren't there. It's on page 192 in pathoma. There's barely anything on it because we don't know a lot about it, but the last bullet point says very, very poor prognosis. And it was a very, very poor prognosis. She was diagnosed the summer I got home from my first year of undergrad. And a lot of my friends and family were supportive at first, but their support was, oh, your mom's diagnosed with cancer, at least she's still here. You have your mom, enjoy this last bit with your mom. And I don't think they meant it in a bad way, but I don't think anyone realized that I lost my mom the second the doctor told me that there was a tumor in her brain. Her tumor was on the left side of her brain, exactly where her speech and motor function was. So I never got to talk to my mom after that point. I was the one that took her to the hospital because I noticed she was speaking funny, and our last conversation was her asking me why I took her to the hospital. So she lived for 16 more months, and my family decided that it was in my best interest to go back to school in the fall because I had recently come off of not one, but 2 shoulder surgeries my freshman year of college as I swam at Marshall University and blew both of them out. And all I wanted that first year of college was to be on the swim team and competing and really able to make my impact in the athletic world. So my parents were like, of course, you're finally healed. This has been a 20-month process of you having surgeries and PT and everything. You need to go back. So I went back to school, and my brother actually dropped out of school so he could be her primary caregiver. And so in that moment of time, it was very strange because everyone put their life on hold, and I was still able to go to school and to swim and to act like a 19-year-old does, I guess. And so I would swim and go to school, and then every weekend I would come home and see my mom. And that went on for about a year, and then my junior year of college, the week that I refer to as the trilogy of my life, happened. So in the span of a week, I was medically disqualified from Division I athletic swimming. My first ever boyfriend broke up with me because he quoted that I was not that fun to be around lately. Yeah. And then my mom died. So that all happened within 7 days, and it was terrible, not gonna lie. But it made sense to me, right? Someone died, my identity as an athlete, and my first ever boyfriend. That made sense, that should make me upset. So I didn't question it. Of course I was debilitated, of course I was depressed, of course I understood it. The thing I didn't understand was where my grief would be 1,000 days later. So here I am, 88 days ago, and my dad tells me that he's getting remarried. And I did not take it very well. And I remember in that moment I broke down and I was crying. It was on Thanksgiving, and I was like, why'd you do it on a holiday? I was crying and I was like, I don't want, this isn't sad. In my mind, Mom dying is sad, but this is a happy event for you. And I couldn't justify my emotions. I was like, I feel sad because this presence of a new woman standing next to you reminds me that my mom is no longer here, and emotionally I just break down when I see her. But I want to be happy for you. You lost your spouse. You know, you've been sitting at home while I'm at med school studying all day. And so it's been something that's really, really difficult to deal with. I'm still dealing with it. But the thing that I think's funny is that, ironic, is that ever since my mom died, I've started working for a grief nonprofit called Actively Moving Forward. I started a club for it on my undergrad campus about 10 days after my mom died. And I work at summer camps in the summer for kids who have lost a loved one. And we talk about grief and we tell stories and all these things. And I'm there all the time telling people it's normal. Grief comes in waves. You can feel this way. It's not linear. You can't read a textbook and figure out how grief is. And then I'm sitting here over Thanksgiving break like, why am I crying? Because my dad's getting married. And I felt like a huge hypocrite because everything I told every person I've mentored up until now, I couldn't follow. And so I realized, this summer especially, I met a 18-year-old boy from New York who lost his mother the same exact way I did. And his story that he told me at grief camp was the most healing thing that I've ever felt in my life. Just having someone say the emotions that I'm feeling right back to me, but I never told them I'd felt any of those. It was so, so powerful. And so tonight I hope that someone in this room found some part of that powerful, because I think that's how we're going to all be better physicians and start talking about things that happen, like death.